Marshall in the middle.
Hey, everybody, I'm here with Sergeant Alexis Morgan, one of my old buddies from the 3rd of the 4th Air Defense Artillery Regiment. We jumped out of airplanes together way back in the 80s and 90s. And it's really wild to think about, how far we've all come. And this project, the Marshall in the Middle Heroes I Know, is about getting our stories told before we're too old or too sick to tell them. One of my Jumpmaster buddies, his wife called me and said, "Hey, Maggot can't remember things no more. He's having some kind of problems." And so I called Rob Maggot, and my old Jumpmaster buddy, man, the guy that trained us all on being a good Jumpmaster, being a good soldier, and being a good leader. And I tried to record all the stories I could between he and I before he's still with us, though. He's doing great. I talked to him not long ago, and he invited me, like he always does, to come out and see him out in El Paso. And I tell you, I'm really proud to be here with Sergeant Morgan. And the idea is to get our stories told. So, Alexis, if you find yourself saying, "Man, I sure am talking a lot," well, you know what? That's exactly what you're supposed to be doing. So I want to hear, your story and what you have to say. And this is for your kids and your grandkids, your loved ones. It's not for some consumption necessarily right now, not a big deal, but one day somebody going to say, "Man, you know what? My grandpa was a paratrooper. Let me listen to what he had to say and get his story." And so that's what this is. This is the idea of get our stories told. And so thanks for being here with me. I appreciate it, man.
Thanks for having me, Jumpmaster. Yeah, I remember you coming through the chow line, and the one thing that really stood out was your smile, and you were just a humble guy. But then it came through. Some guy won it. Some guy won Jumpmaster of the Year, 82nd Order. Some guy won it, and he's from this battalion. And then you cut. I was like, "Who is it? Who?" We're like, "Who is it?" It's like, "There he is. There he is." We're like two kids. There he is. And from there, we kind of paid a lot of honor, respect, and hell of accomplishment. It was like better than Jello pudding pops to see you do your thing and represent the battalion 82nd, and to do something that fabulous is just quite honorable. Pleasure to know you.
I appreciate it. So where are you from? You live in South Carolina right now, right?
Yeah, I'm actually I'm Panamanian and Dominican. I was born in Panama. My dad's Dominican, but I'm second generation military. My dad was a leg, and he retired in 1990. I went in March of '89. I did my basic at Fort Leonard, Missouri, then AIT at Fort Dix, and of course airborne school. And then around July of 1989, I got welcomed to the fabulous 34th ADA Sky Strikers. Hua.
Those are the glory years, man. Back in the early '90s, so you get there before Desert Storm? Did you go to Desert Storm with the battalion?
I went with the battalion, and I went with my squad leader was Tony Mayfield, who I learned a lot of Staff Sergeant Tony Mayfield. I was like his cherry private on his hip, just raw, didn't know anything, and was just trying to follow my NCO and just wanted to stay alive and was scared. I was like, wait a minute, I'm in combat, and flew in. I remember never being that hot. I don't sweat. Flew in with all that gear and Alice Pack gear, and it was about 140 degrees, and I never sweat. And I was like, man, it's hot here. So humping all that gear and being in combat, stand down, it's cold at night, hot in the day, training, just water, drink water, drink water, drink water. But it was a scary time in my life to actually enlist, and you don't expect to go to combat, and then you go over there.
So so you were what did they call you guys? I mean, they didn't call you cook, it was culinary specialist, or what was that?
Yeah.
What was your title?
Well, they called us I was a cook, but they called us culinary specialists. But a lot a lot of the guys were being called uh, spoons, jelly donuts, all sorts of stuff like that. And I kind of had to really just try to change the narrative. I didn't take too well to that. My part was that maybe we could start changing the narrative on this.
My when I was a first sergeant for a Patriot battery, I had my own MKT and my own DFAC manager guy. Man, he took care of me. Of course, I took care of Maples too. Now, I did an interview with him not long ago. Man, he said, "You know what, Top?" He goes, "This changed my life doing this." He goes, "You turned me back into a hero again. My family thought I was nothing, but now that we did an interview and we got to tell all the stories, I get to relive it again, and it's really neat to think about those kinds of things. What was your favorite thing to cook when you were in the military?
Um, wow, good question. I had a lot of them. I really like cooking. I would say I like making the lasagna and spaghetti. I like cooking the lasagna and spaghetti. And I like when y'all will come through. I cook a lot of eggs. So I like cooking y'all a lot of the omelets. I like doing an omelet special for y'all.
Hey, that was my favorite. Was I wrote an article about eggs to order, right? That was some of my favorite times in the military is when you stood in line and like, I want over easier, I want omelet with, this, that, and the other on it. And next thing you know, there's a little community, you're talking, you're chatting, and many times it was you that was back there behind the grill and you were just talking and we were all chatting and we get our little eggs and then move on. And it was a time when all the different units could, that's something about food is it brings everybody together. It's a time where you share a table, you share a moment, and you share nutrition. And it's a time where there's no real work being done. Um, anyway, dude, remember the mess hall, Charlie 9349 mess hall? Do you remember those days? Remember that mess hall?
Yeah, I remember coming. I don't know which battery it was, but it's a First Sergeant Locklear. He
Charlie
was the
Battery.
Charlie battery. He was right there, and then I remember him coming through. And of course, I remember Sergeant Major Lear coming through, and then Sergeant Major Martinez coming through, and then my first sergeant, my very first ever First Sergeant Tyndall coming through, and then my mentor, Sergeant Major Adams coming through. But you were very friendly to me. First Sergeant Grace was. Um, who else was very friendly to me? Sergeant Rayner. Jumpmaster Rayner was very friendly. He'd come through and he just had this upbeat and was high energy. Hey, hey, Private War, whatever I was back then. And he just came through smiling and kind of lifted us up, and it was great. I pay homage to him to see his smile. I remember him because he was vibrant and always had good things to say, and just a wonderful guy. So I remember him quite well. Just very fun and vibrant guy, and just lifted us up.
Oh yeah, he always had some crazy off the wall story. It was wild, that guy. So he was my first senior gunner. When I got there as a private, he was the first like touch I had with anybody, really. I had a squad leader that might yell at you when you first got there, but he was the guy that pulled me aside and go, "Okay, Marshall, it's okay. You can do this," And he was a young specialist, almost a sergeant at that time. Tell
Okay.
me tell me about growing up. Tell me about young Alexis. When you're, what are your memories? Do you remember family being around? Do you remember playing in the sandbox? Do you remember getting run over by the truck in the street? Tell me about that.
Oh, the young Alexis was very timid and shy, middle school guy. Didn't want to do no work, just wanted to play. The middle school Alexis and the middle school Alexis was always the middle school up to forever now was always a fast guy that loved Dallas Cowboys and and I love football and I like track, participated in track. And when I was junior and senior, I enjoyed my break dancing. So I enjoyed break dancing, going out to the skating rinks and trying to meet girls. And do all the other fun stuff that the high schooler and kids do. Go out to the mall, meet them, talk to them, and they carried over to the Army. Stage got bigger than want to go to the NCO club and drink and do all that fun stuff.
I remember learning to skate backwards, right, so that I could be close to the girls. Do you remember? You remember your first crush?
I actually had a couple of them. Ran into one here. First one, it was a lady named Tanja Faber. Thought she was the most like beautiful looking thing, but you know, she wasn't looking at no skinny non-paratrooper guy at that time. She's like, I'm not paying you no attention. She probably was looking at like a star athlete or something like that. I actually had a couple of them, but she was one of them.
You remember getting in trouble for something as a kid? What were you like, talking all the time, or were you not talking at all? I mean, what got you? What you got you yelled at?
I got my ass whipped every week, and I needed it because my mama, Spanish people got a lot of mouth, so we like to and my mom used to jack me up. I got whippings probably every week. I needed whippings every week because I like to mouth back. So I was always
Oh,
good with the mouth, and she was crazy. If it's in sight, she's gonna take you out. Belt, 2x4, uh, black pan. I remember she hit me upside the head and drew a knot. I had a Flintstone knot going up my head. She hit me so hard with that black cast iron, and she almost broke my arm and belt, whatever was in sight. She believed in capital punishment. God bless her soul. My mom passed my first day in the military. That's how I got in the military. She was my driving force.
oh,
Very sad. I was going through a
amen.
lot of pain when I got to ADA.
Oh man. Oh man. So tell me about what kind of got you into the Army. What caused you to do that? You didn't obviously give up your scholarship to be a defensive lineman in the NFL, you know.
Well, I was working since I've been 16 years of age, and I worked at a supermarket called Bilo. So I was a bagger. Then I went to stocker, and then my mom was like, "This is no way to make no career. You can't make no money here. You need to go in the military." So she was encouraging me to go to the military. I was like, I want to do my thing. I'll move up. I'll maybe make a store manager or do whatever it is back then. But then I seen my buddies. My motive was material. It wasn't actually the soldiering aspect. Yeah, my daddy was in, but I seen these guys coming back with nice rides and stuff. I was like, man, maybe I should go in and try to get me a nice ride. So it was one, I was at crossroads because I entered when I was 20, 22. So I was at 23. I was like, what do you do with your life? I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. I was at crossroads. And I want to know mom was she was terminally ill. So I said, you know what? Let me enter the military. And I said, I need to be close to my mom. I don't know how much she got to live. I'll sign up for any job. Give me any job. I'll sign up for it. I just need to be close to my mom, which is we're at Fort Jackson. And they said, if you go airborne and if you be a cook, we'll get you close to her. And the sad part is the moment they flow me into at Fort Leonard, Missouri, she's holding on. The next day, they said, we got bad news. They called me in the commander's office and they said, your mom. That's all they had to say. And I broke out and started crying and I just went crazy. I lost it. So they
Yeah.
flew me back. I went into depression for about 2 weeks. I stayed locked up in my room because I just lost everything that I ever had, that ever showed me everything that I had in life. All of my successes are for her. All my failures are for myself. And then started from there.
Amen. Amen. So tell me, let's continue talking about your mom just for a second while we're already on that subject. Tell me about how she was a rock for you or a stepping ladder, or how did tell me some tangible ways she helped you.
Well, my mom, Spanish lady, my mom was about 5'5", maybe 102 pounds. She, um, got to America and couldn't speak no Spanish, so she started learning Spanish, and then she started getting all these jobs, and she was a a she was like she led the way for other ladies that couldn't speak English and would teach them, like coming to America, um, teaching them how to kinda go on the right path and kind of learn the language and where you should go and what you should do. She actually worked construction, and that's where they think they got the cancer. She passed from lung cancer is because she worked at a nuclear plant. So here you got this little tough 5'5", 5'4", 95-pound woman working with all these men and doing construction. And so she did that and held a couple jobs down, but pretty tough lady. She like had no business doing that, but you do what you got to do for your kids. So she was the rock. She believed in capital punishment. My dad, they were married. He was abusive, uh, drinking, wanted to be in the NCO club and he wasn't doing the right thing and got raised by my mom and I'm a mama's boy and, we love our moms to death. So we honor, respect, and we love, and she made me everything I am today.
Amen. Amen. So tell me about the the transition and coming into the Army. Was that something that you found you were good at? That you got easy? Was it good, easy to run up and down the road and call cadence and do all those Army things?
Um, the no, it was not easy. It was I was a 23-year-old guy, buck private. Uh, I went to depression, had a lot of anger. I'm like, just couldn't do my job. I just lost everything that meant the whole world to me. So no, it was not easy. And then you come put me in the 82nd and do all this stuff where I'm still mourning the loss of my mom. No, it was very hard. It didn't take it took me maybe 2 or 3 years to kinda about the 26 or 27, I really started soldiering at a high level.
So when you joined and you came in the 82nd and all the stuff, did you live in the barracks? Were you married? Tell me about that young life. When you first got there.
Well, I lived in the barracks in Charlie Battery Barracks on the upper part. It was me and, it was Floyd, and then it was Hallis. We were all roommates. So they had all 3 of us in there. And then my brother, he was in Legland. He'd come pick me up and, we go party and have a good time at the Yatima Club. But, no, we lived there up until I got married and then, uh, married my son's mother, and she caused me a lot of pain and chaos and put me through a lot of stuff. Stressed me out a whole bunch. But, outside of that, I loved it. I love 80 AR 34th. I love it. Honor, valor, just as much or more than anyone in the whole has ever been in a battalion.
I want to play. I was working on something. I want to play something for us right here, and just I want you to think back about all the leaders and the culture and the things that were going on in third of the fourth. So let's just watch this.
It also came from those guys in that end office, man. Shoot, I grew up with lieutenants back in the day, man. Lorenzo Mack, Tommy Ding, man, Diamond Dave O'Neill. Those guys were awesome folks coming up, man, at junior levels. And then at senior levels, man, the list goes on and on, man. We had some. We were blessed in so many ways in our time to work with and be around so many awesome NCOs, awesome officers, awesome paratroopers, man. When you sit back and think about it, Think about the leadership that's come from the folks we've been a part of. Think about, like, I'm amazed when I look on Facebook and see what some of the troopers that we served with. And of course, when I see them, to me, they'll forever be like young kids, right? Like a private or
right. Do you remember some of the folks? You've already named some of them, but tell me about, like, I remember, is it Thompson was the DFAC manager, Staff Sergeant Thompson, was that his name?
Yeah, Sergeant First Gas Thompson. Yeah, he didn't care for me. So I didn't have good senior leadership like I should have.
Oh no.
But Peyton, the people that were the most integral and kind of really helped me within my career, within the DFAC, I got within the DFAC that helped me, and then I got the ADA guys that helped me. Within the DFAC helped me was Jumpmaster Peyton, who Jason Peyton, who was a DFAC manager at Field Artillery, and then Dwyer, Sergeant Dwyer, Jumpmaster Dwyer, he helped me. But it was really Mayfield and Peyton who really believed me. Peyton actually gave me the name Rock. He gave me the name Rock. He's like, hey, you're scoring all these 300s all the time. I'm going to give you the name Rock. So actually, before the Rock, Wrestler Rock, I was really the first Rock.
Yeah.
So he really kind of stole my name. Then the non-DFAC that really helped me was Sar Rivera. He really helped me out in the civilian world. Was my best friend, Sar Rivera. And then one guy that really stood out, I was struggling. I was like, I'm not used to doing this land nav stuff, so I'm kind of struggling with it. And it was Patton, Staff Sergeant Patton. He took me by his wing. He took me out. I actually boloed the land navigation because I just never done it, and I just wasn't out there long enough, and I didn't get trained up enough prior to PLDC. So here we go, another air defender took me out, became really comfortable with it, eventually got good at it, but he was the one who took me out. Hats off to him. Hats off to my platoon daddy, Sergeant First Class Cuevas at the time, Jumpmaster. And it was when I had my son, it was Godwin, but it was Patton. I really appreciate him. And then of course you had Sergeant Major Lincoln, Sergeant Major Ridgway, of course yourself, and then Airborne Messiah. I remember seeing like him and Wagner and Benitez and Ray. It seemed like every First Sergeant, it seemed like they were on every airborne operation. I mean, it seemed like they were on Airborne George. It seemed like they were on everything. Every completely airborne operation, I remember always seeing them on. And then my mentor, which is my best senior leader ever, and my idol was Sergeant Major Adams. Kind of wanted to emulate myself after him.
So tell me so Sergeant Major Adams was a mentor for many of us. I found myself in his office several times asking for guidance. I resigned from the air defense branch to him, and he just kind of giggled at me. Tell me about how Sergeant Major Adams, tell me about that presence, how he was in your life. What was it about him that meant a lot to you?
First of all, he was like a daddy, but he asked me a question, and I make the mistakes as E4s or guys that just pass the board. You got your chest poked out, you're King Kong, you think you know everything, and nobody can tell you nothing. So he asked me a question, and I didn't interpret the question right. He said something, and I didn't listen to the question fully. So here we go. I knock on his door. I'm at parade rest. As hey, Sergeant Major, I believe that you gave me some wrong information. So basically, He smoked me left, right, up, down, around, about, broke me down completely like a Tonka toy. And by the time he got done, I was almost crying walking out of the house. I said, I'm gonna stay away from this crazy man. I'm gonna stay completely away from him. I don't want to see this man ever again in my life. So then later on, he kind of talked to me and, don't you ever come in my MF. Well, he went off. He went off. He had a flashback. He had a drill sergeant flashback or something. But later on, he just kind of, started talking to me, mentoring me. I was going through some challenges with my senior NCO, and he was kind of there just to guide me and kind of direct me through when I was a junior NCO, and then actually when I became NCO and then enlisted ranks. I never had nobody from a senior standpoint kind of just guided me. Now I had Peyton and Mayfield, and I worked with Jones, but Peyton, Mayfield, and Dwyer, they really just guided me on things that you should do and you shouldn't do. And but they actually were great, but then again, they gave me I got me in trouble too because I was listening to everything they said and I was doing things that you shouldn't do as an NCO. So that's what got me out of ADA and broke my heart.
So tell me about jumping out of airplanes. Was that a big deal for you, or like, oh yeah, no big deal, or was jumping like something that like, oh, watch out?
Oh, watch out. I had a weak bowel, and I remember I was doing this. I said, you got to do whatever it is you got to do to be close to your mom. Got to do whatever it is to be close to my mom. So I was just jumping really out of love for her because I had a weak bowel. I was not supposed to be jumping because my bowel was weak. I get dizzy, throw up, but then hey, we got to do what we got to do. Mission calls. We got to do what we got to do. I remember my very first jump, prior DZ, Fort Benning, Georgia. That door opened up, and I was like, Alexis Morgan, you've done some stupidest things in your life, but by far, this is the most stupidest thing you've ever done. You stupid SOB. So that was my. Oh my gosh, I'm scared. I was terrified. It was in the day, but it was a night jump. I can assure you that.
I like to tell everybody my first 10 jumps were night water jumps. That's because I closed my eyes and peed in my pants. Oh, so like at some point you went overseas to Italy or somewhere, right?
Yes. I went to Vicenza in 96, 98, and it all came together. It started clicking, and I was a star over there, basically. Vicenza,
You're a star everywhere, man. Dang it.
no, Vicenza was different. It was different because I was in an infantry unit, and and we bring it on ourselves. I mean, some of the cooks, they bring food service specialists, they bring it on themselves because a lot of times back then, uh, Jerry Mitchell, that was my squad leader. He taught me a lot about cooking in the kitchen, airborne. So he taught me a lot. Back then, cooks are known as these fat guys who can't do BT, can't run, and that was, I feel like back then in the time we brought on ourselves to be judged and picked on that way because we weren't really doing the soldiering stuff. We were doing the kitchen stuff. But it was some of us that could really do the soldier stuff. Oh, Vicenza was outside of them guys. Y'all are only guys I love more. I would never march with nobody else unless y'all gave me permission to. I did my first march with 80A. My last march gonna be with 80A. It was great because, like, here we go. I'm out here doing my thing. I won Cook of the Year. Almost won USER Cook of the Year. Almost won the whole thing. And in that year, it was quite interesting. because we had Ironman teams. We had HH. No, but no, it was HHB, but it wasn't battery. It's a company. HHC. Then you had Alpha Bravo Charlie Delta. So my CO at the time, tremendous, probably greatest leader I've been a part of, who really kind of helped me. My battalion commander was Arnold N.G. Bray, he made brigadier general, but then my CO at the time was Michael R. Fenzel. And if you spent any time at infantry land, he actually retired as a 3-star. He came up to me, said, hey, Sergeant Morgan, we're going to select you to be on the Ironman team. Team of 4. You're going against, you're in headquarters, you're going against Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, and Delta. All infantry guys. We want to select you to be part of our team. I was like, well, okay, sir, I'll do it. No worries, I'll do it. And then that pressure started sitting in, like, like, I know I could do it. It was like, you're a cook. Like, you got selected for this team. Like, they're. I mean, I could soldier, but then they start kind of picking on you. Oh, watch the cook. He's gonna blow it. He's not gonna make it. He's gonna be the reason they lose. But he selected me for a reason, and it was fun to kind of change the narrative to say, you know what, I helped my team. I was an integral part in helping my team win the whole Ironman within the whole infantry battalion. And it kind of just changed the narrative. Like, hey, cooks can do this kind of stuff. I changed it so much. They said, Sergeant Morgan, this is when I PCS back to Brad. They said, we're gonna give you any school you want. What school you want? I said, well, of course I need training. I like to go to Ranger School. I want training. And they said, we're gonna get one of the infantry guys to train you up, work with you hand by hand, and then try to get you to infantry school. Back then, they didn't have no need for cooks. If you were E5, Jumpmaster, I would have liked to work with, yourself and Sergeant Major Stout, First Sergeant Maggin, all the Jumpmasters in the AD. I would have liked to get trained up, but that just wasn't a necessity for a cook to be Jumpmaster. Jumpmaster Peyton, he got it because he was in a senior NCO position. So I want to do these things. They just figured, oh, cooks, you don't need to be doing this stuff. You need to be in the dining facility. That was Sergeant Thompson's. That was his thing. But I think Sergeant Major Adams recommended me for Master Fitness. He said no. But I really am grateful to them guys because it changed my career and changed the narrative. And they just look at you at a different light. Hey, that's Sergeant Morgan. Hey, that's the cook. He won Cook of the Year in Italy. He almost won USER NCO of the Year for a cook. He won Ironman. So I was on the new. I was winning everything over there. Felt like a rock star, and I felt like a lot of pressure. Like, what if you blow it? What if the guys in ADA hear that you blew it? You were the guy that blew it. That I had a lot of pressure on me. Not the pressure you had for winning a Jumpmaster of the Year and all the other 82nd, all the other stuff, but there was a lot of pressure to not blow it and perform, and we came through.
Isn't it neat? The guys and gals that you're around in battalion, our attitude in the Air Defense Battalion there in the 82nd is that not only can we do it, but we will do it, and we'll show you about it. And then after we're done, we'll talk to you about it. And we'll throw, we're big time, we're cocky. And so when you leave and you go somewhere else, you're always worried. I wonder what the guys back at, Bragg are going to say if they find out I messed up, right? We're worried about that. That's a huge legacy.
I was I was terrified. I had guys, some of the Airborne Rangers guys coming through the line, and right before the event started, oh, he's the cook. He's gonna blow it. And I was worried, I had that pressure, like, what if the ADI guy's here? What if Sergeant Major Adams here? You blew this Iron Man. It was you. So I was under immense pressure. I never had pressure like that. It's a different pressure because we're not expected to do that. We're expected to fail. We're not expected to do that stuff physically. I was one of the fastest and strongest guys in the whole battalion. There wasn't about 2 or 3 guys who could actually outrun me in the whole battalion, and Jumpmaster Rainer was one of them. He actually smoked me. I never got beat like that. I'm like, good, great. I can't get him. He's just too fast. So, but yeah, I was always I did 290s in my sleep, and 300s are like, whatever, man, ain't nothing. I woke up knowing I was gonna do that.
Rainer could flat fly, boy. He was a
Wow.
cross country runner in college, and he's running,
Yeah, he could fly. He could fly. I mean, I can usually close the gap and keep somebody pretty close to me, but no, not him. That we had when we were on Fridays, we had in battalion we had our PT Mondays and Wednesdays. Then Fridays they put us in the fast. I was in the fast group. It was me and Carter in the fast group. I don't know who was it Howard or Rainer? But I'm telling you, they took us on a 6-mile run or 5-mile run. So they broke your groups down, and I was always with the fast groups in the battalion. And they took us out for seemed like every Friday was like a 6-mile run. The long street, the whole Ardennes line. They took us everywhere. I mean, they just ran us everywhere. But it was fun.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You it's neat to think about how the Ardennes and Area J and Sicily Drop Zone and all those iconic places, how they shaped us. Are there places that you remember from Fort Bragg that kind of shaped you? Was there a long night, on a drop zone, or anything crazy you remember from those days?
Yes, I remember something real crazy. We jumped in. I don't remember, it was Sicily Normandy, and they said, "Guess what? The cattle truck's not coming." I said, "The what? It's not coming." I'm dead tired. And like, you mean to tell me we got to hump this back? I didn't say that literally. I was saying it in my head. We got to hump this back. I wanted to cry. I was like, but then, you strap up, you pull your straps in tight, and then you just hump. And I remember that being one of the hardest things I ever had to do with my whole life, from a standpoint of jumping and then having to ruck back to battalion. That was like, I don't even want to do that ever again.
Yeah, we did that. We did that several times. You jumped into Sicily and back to battalion was right at 12 miles, just under 12 miles. And so sometimes you jump onto Sicily and then have to march back down Long Street. And Long Street's like this, up and down the hill, up and down the hill, up and down the hill. It's like,
And I it was different because you had other guy on. He was short like me, but see, we face challenges that other guys don't face. And I'm not crying over spilled milk. No, this is what the Lord gave me. He gave me this small body. You got to deal with it, work out. But some of these guys had long legs, so in order for me to keep up or make the Royal March, I had to run a lot of the ways. So it's just some of the challenges that you face. And that thing was like, oh, I never became a man until I actually did my first Royal March with the 82nd. That's when I knew, like, I'm a man, because that thing was, it just, all my back, and then shoulder straps on the Alice pack just digging into your skin and your back's hurting. You can barely hold the weapon up, and you're trying to keep up. I was like, man, this is a gut check time. And it's almost like, man, I want to get on the back of that truck. But it's like, no, you don't want to embarrass yourself, and you're not embarrassing the unit, but you're kind of embarrassing yourself and letting yourself down. And you definitely don't want to do that. And be the talk of your section of the unit. Oh, you bolo the road march. You don't want that. But it was very challenging, very fun when we look back. Best things we ever did in life, but very challenging, hard thing to do.
Yeah, it's hard to explain what like a forced march, like a 12-mile road march is like when you have like a 3-hour time limit, you got 35 pounds on your back, you got a helmet on your head, you're carrying your weapon, and you got to run at least part of the way if you're going to make it. And when you walk, your shins hurt so bad you're about to, it just look a 12-mile road march will make a man out of you. I agree. Yeah, yeah. Tell me a little bit about your faith. What keeps you going? There's no atheist in foxholes. Tell me about who is it you're talking, who are you cussing out in your head when you're doing your 12-mile road march? What is it that keeps you going late at night?
Back then it was the failure. 'Cause I nobody likes failure. Champions, you're all gonna fail, but it's how you get back up. We're all gonna fail at some given point. You're not gonna win everything. You're gonna get adversity. You're gonna be tested. Okay, so what? Who cares if you get knocked down? How you gonna get up and how you gonna respond? I just naturally I hate to lose. I don't like to lose at anything. I mean, I was back in I think it was 2004. Yeah, I was the number 2 guy, the number 1 guy in the whole of CPI, selling alarm systems. I've always been competitive. I was almost the number 1 guy on the residential side the whole year, and then some guy got me at the end. I've always been number 1 or 2 in everything I've ever done. So I don't like to lose. I'm a sore loser. I was a sore loser back then, and you just don't like to lose, and you just don't want to. I just don't like to lose. I hate losing, and you don't want to be known. You don't want that bad publicity. Okay, you do one thing bad, you're gonna be judged off that. All these good things you do. So I just love to win, and failure. Failure is my fear. That's what drives me because I don't want to fail. It's not fun. Look at Michael Jordan. Look how many times he failed. Not failed, but didn't win the championships. Everybody's gonna lose or fail at some point in your life. Is how you get back up. That's the heart of a champion.
Amen. 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 Who are some of your childhood mentors that you looked up to? Both like big name, but also like maybe you had an aunt or an uncle or a neighbor or something like that.
My mom and my aunt. My dad, he wasn't around. So it was I was the oldest out of 4 of us. So it was my mom. She was my rock, my mentor, my everything, my mom.
Tell me about your children. Brag on your kids for me.
Um uh my kids are doing well. I was one of the low times in my life at the time at Bragg. I was out having kids, going to NCO club, being immature, drinking, partying. I wasn't being a good father at the time because I was just thinking about, hey, I got my beret, my dress blues, my dress greens. I wanted to be at the club. I wanted to, you know, do my soldier thing, and just wasn't a good father until later on. unlike yourself. I was just wanting to party and be at the club and having a good time. But I fixed that later on down the road. That's just what we do. We do that sometimes. It's not you. I mean, some of y'all guys are different, but that's what we were doing back then. I mean, we just wanted to be making babies and drinking and having a good time. I mean, I'm down for a good party. I was back then. That's what paratroopers do.
Hey man, don't put me in no saint category. I promise you, I could have been a way better father and a husband and everything than I was. It's neat looking back. There, I don't know, maybe it was an age, but there was a time when I realized that I was looking back on my life and I had started to go back down the hill, right? I was like, oh shit, I've already crested the hill, you know? You feel your testosterone going away. You don't have to win as much as you used to, kind of thing. It's okay to let a young whippersnapper come along and you realize I'll be wise. I won't have to be as fast. I'll just be wiser. Like if you ever played basketball with an older guy, an older person on a basketball court will whoop your ass if you're a kid, you know, because they've got the moves down, you know, you don't realize it. So has that happened for you? And if so, tell me about it.
Yeah, I mean, there was an older guy. I've seen him in the supermarket probably about a month ago. His name was Bobby Joe. We used to play at the high school gym. I was like, man, you were the older guy. You just had this jump shot fadeaway, and you just were like, you know, you just were a clutch, no pressure. No, now, um, I'm just like, you know, I already been there, seen it, done it. Y'all could have it, you know. I- I'm 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 there to enjoy my life. I'm still here to produce, but I done did all that. So no, y'all do it.
All right, so I think I know, but I've been asking this question for a few people. So you get a letter in the mail. It says you got to go back in the army. Where are you showing back up to? What rank are you gonna have? You know what? Tell me about that. Like you show back up, you can just got to show back up wherever they are and just fall in. What are you gonna do?
Is it rank? We talking about rank and job? What job?
Yeah, rank and job.
Man, dude, what are you talking about, Jumpmaster? There ain't but one way to go. I'm going 16 Romeo. I'm going to Bravo or Charlie Battery. Let's go. Come on, let's do it.
That
I'm
old
gonna
days
work
doing to
with
be a
our next
Romeo.
year. I'm gonna work with yourself, Jumpmaster Stout. Man, I'm gonna work with all y'all, man. Lear, Mills, first time. I'm gonna work with Grace, first time. I'm gonna work with all y'all. Let's go. Sorry, man. Colonel Kirk gonna be leading us. I want to work with y'all.
That would be fun, man. We had those were good days back then, man. You know, we look back on it now. You know, when we were in the middle of it, it was go. We were all so busy. It was, you know, got formation in 10 minutes. Let's go clean up, you know, blah, 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 detail, all kind of stuff. But looking back on it, man, we were tight, brother. We were tight.
Tight, tight, tight. I just like, how can, for me, I'm not speaking for nobody else. I mean, I was a baby when I got there. I learned everything, you know, I went from a baby to NCO. I mean, a lot of y'all are my idols. You know, I look up to a lot of you guys. I mean, so many of you in between, because like I said, I was a private when I got there. So how can that not be the unit and the people that I love so much? I mean, you don't understand a brotherhood until you were in the airborne brotherhood. I don't, the brotherhood the airborne brotherhood is a different thing, but the brotherhood of ADA, that's special and different. Now I love Vicenza. They're my brothers too. But this brotherhood is just, we ain't better. I ain't gonna say better, but we're tighter. It's just something different about third or fourth, man, than any other place I served. You know, back then, Vincenzo, you had a brotherhood, but here is a real brotherhood where they love you and care about you. Like they don't want you to fail. They're there to help you. Um, and they're going to do what it takes to help you. In the end, you know, they're being hard on you, whatever. In the end, is to ensure your success. Nothing personal. You know, where other places is personal, but here is like this is a unique brotherhood. Like y'all, my ride or dies.
When we were together, I think it was a couple years ago, or maybe it was back this past summer. We were there for the reunion, and you know, we had everybody lined up, and everybody was wearing their shirts and holding the guidons and stuff. Wasn't that magical time to march out on Pike Field? And you know, wasn't that really neat? Did you feel that?
It was the best time, one of the best times of my life. Back then, uh, we had All American Week, and then you know you go in there and on Pikeville, wherever we were doing it, and the generals would talk for 3 or 4 hours. I'm like, damn, it's hot out here. Like, I don't want to be out here. This is like a bunch of nonsense. Stop talking. You're talking all day and all night in the general. Bring your units to attention. Bring your units to parade. And it's back and forth, and you got the bayonet. You see guys falling. You see guys almost getting hit with the bayonet, and they just passing out because it's hot out there. And back then, I was like, damn it, I'm always getting selected. Why are some of these other guys not getting selected to be out here doing this? Why is it me? I'm always getting it's the same people all the time. Like, Miss Daddy, why aren't you out here? You know, why are you selecting me all the time? Back then, I was angry about it. Appreciate it a little bit, but now looking back, best thing I ever did my whole life, best memory. It's like I can reflect and say this stuff was so cool. And then we marched with the unit back then, with the activate. Man, it's best time. It brought back all those memories, them great ADA memories. Brought them all back. Best thing ever. Best thing in the world. I'm gonna do it until I can no longer walk.
What was your favorite aircraft to jump out of?
C-141. I love it. Cause that prop flare, I was light, and I go walk out. I see the wee 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 wee. I love just shoot me on out.
It did. It had a way of just sucking you out. It wasn't like you had to forcefully go out at all. It had that airfoil deflector with the holes in it, and yeah. So, what drop zone do you want to jump on?
I gotta do Sicily or Normandy. Gotta have it.
Sicily's just the best. I think it's so big and wide
Yeah.
open and historic, and you got a lot of way to float. You don't have to worry about much, you know.
Jumpmaster, I got a question for you.
Okay.
Because I mean, obviously, guys like you and you know, Sergeant Major Stout and Sergeant Major Lincoln, Sergeant Major Ridgway, and Sergeant Major, y'all make stuff look so easy. I feel like guys like you were kind of blessed to make stuff look so easy. When you went to Jumpmaster school, and of course it's not easy, but you make y'all guys made some of this stuff look easy. How is it that y'all made some of this stuff look easy? And I know you studied and everything and prepared, but some of this stuff y'all made look easy, bro.
Look, fake it till you make it.
Okay.
What they call it? Confidence, blind damn confidence, and just studying ahead of time and figuring it out. One of the neat things that Gary Plotnick, I asked that kind of question too. He's one of these guys that when I watched him, he's a peer of mine. He came up, he made 10th AAMDC Command Sergeant Major, just a great guy. And I asked him that kind of question. And what is it that made you be so confident? And he's like, look, I just knew that I had everybody around me that if I started to fail, they'd pick me up, that would help. And we all rooted for each other. Secretly we wanted to win the competition, but we also didn't want to see our brothers fall on their face and look like idiots either, right? And I mean, you remember push ball and all the crazy, things that we did that brought us all together. You know, it was so much fun time.
I
Such
took a
great
couple of
time.
injuries. I took a couple injuries and I took some bumps and bruises.
I did my best to stay out of the fray of push ball. I would play, but you didn't find me when I was getting blindsided. I was looking around. So so let's play a little bit of this or that. Okay, you ready? So I'm gonna just give you a choice. You just choose. Okay. Let's see. Hawk or owl?
Hawk.
All right. Chevy or Ford?
Probably Ford.
Korea or Germany?
Germany, Vicenza. One says,
Oh,
now.
okay.
Bill said, Bill said.
Whiskey or vodka?
I'll say whiskey.
Okay, there we go. And final one. Are you gonna take a sniper rifle or a machine gun?
I'm gonna take a machine gun.
I'm gonna get all y'all.
Because I'm a good shooter, but I'm not sniper like a sniper shooter. So I'll take a machine gun.
So what haven't we talked about? What question did you expect that you didn't get, or what story needs to be told? You know, did you know what caused you to get out? You know, those kinds of things.
Oh, my wife at the time was doing something that she wasn't supposed to be doing, and you know, you're responsible for uh your spouse's actions, and that was kind of demoralizing because you know you're tracking to really do some great things and make some good rank, and that kind of just let all the wind out my sail. So
So where were you at when you got out?
I came back from Italy, which I didn't want to leave. And they had another guy. He was from Bragg. We were same squad, E5Ps. He didn't love Vicenza. I love Vicenza. You know, he was like, I want to be home with my family at Bragg, and DA didn't approve it. That was tough. That was tough because I knew I could get any school I want and pretty much do anything I want. But that was tough. And then I came back here and got the news of my wife at the time doing this. And like, no, you're responsible for her, and boom. And that's how it abruptly came to not so good of an end.
Oh, that's awful. So after you got out, I bet it was tough.
Yeah, very tough because you're making the income that you're making in the Army, and then now you're not making that income. So I got out, I took a breakfast cook job at the Holiday Inn. I think thing was paying not the money I used to make, and that thing was paying $7.35 an hour. I was like, I got to do something. I got to like supplement my income. So then I started selling these alarm systems, and became one of the best guys in the nation at doing it. And here we are.
I need a personal alarm system. I want a drone to fly around and watch me, ISR me, and so if something's coming near, just laser beam it. That's what I need.
High tech stuff, expensive.
That's what I need. That's what I need.
How's your family doing, Jumpmaster? How's your family? How's mom? How's your family?
Yeah, everybody's doing good. So, so my wife is doing great. She's a lawyer here in town, and her practice is growing. It's wonderful. All three of my kids are doing great. I got my oldest has a boy and a girl, so I'm a grandfather.
Oh,
I got
wow.
a little boy named Marshall and a little girl named Clara.
Oh, wow.
And so they're Clara's starting kindergarten this year.
Okay.
And Marshall is fixing to turn 3. So
Okay.
they're wonderful, and my parents are both alive and doing great. I just was with them yesterday. You know, it's nice. My mom lives, just down the street. I can go and have coffee with her. She called me up and she goes, "Hey, Dad's been working in the yard. Go fly the drone and get good pictures." So
Cool.
if you go on my Facebook, you can see where I flew my drone over there.
Yeah, I checked it out.
Yeah, things couldn't be any better. I had a spiritual experience not long ago, kind of like a near death experience a few years back, and
Oh wow.
that's part of what caused all of these interviews to start. I realized how important these things are that we're doing, and how wonderful this life is that we have, So that's a great thing to talk about. This is donor supported. Let me take an opportunity to show you guys, show you this right here. The idea is to get our stories told before we're too old or too sick to tell them. There's our donor list right there. We got basic donors, senior donors, and master rated donors. I'd like to say thanks to Sergeant Augie and Sergeant Burnett for their kind donation. They've recently become master rated donors. And we've done over 260 interviews now. And the idea is to get our stories told before we're too old or too sick to tell them. You can go on Marshall in the Middle. And matter of fact, let me show you this real quick. I'll share my screen.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a donor. I definitely have to be a donor because I love this is like the best thing. This is like awesome that we're doing this, and this thing is. I want it to spread like wildfire. This is just so awesome, brother. I appreciate you for doing this so much. This just means so much. This is like
my pleasure.
This is like like gold at the end of the pot of the rainbow. This is just so wonderful, for you to be doing this.
All right. Yeah. So here is the home page. And so I have a page for each of our heroes. So here you can see the hero. Can you see the page?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. And then here's our mission statement. But if you look here, if we go to the hero pages, and you'll have a page up here soon. And this isn't all of them, but I've done over 200 interviews with my mom, my pastor, Sunday school teacher, all kinds of folks. And just the idea is to get our stories told before we're too old or too sick to tell them,
Yeah, it's sad when we haven't been able to tell some of the stories with some of the people that we've lost, but I'm glad that you actually are doing that, and we're getting a lot of these good memories and videos. This is fabulous stuff you're doing, Jumpmaster.
Yeah, we're just one doctor visit away from getting diagnosed with stage 4 cancer and all those kinds of things. So far, there's been 3 interviews that I've done that have been able to be used for a service, or basically I've gotten their interview before they passed away. And so
wow, that's a beautiful thing.
It is neat. It is neat. I've had several of the videos used in memorial services and things like that. And it's just neat to have these kinds of things. So I covet your support. I don't have it. Maybe I do have it. I've just moved my whole studio, so I don't have it right here, but I have a coin and a box. I'll put it all together. I'll give you a serial number for your coin, and you can put it there, and then there's also a thumb drive. Yeah, here's a thumb drive right here, and it's got a little Marshall in the middle, a little thing on it. But I'll send you a thumb drive that had our video on it, and it's titanium. So if the Russians come and attack, it'll withstand it, So
yeah. I got a question.
Okay.
I'm gonna flip the question back to you. If you got called in right now, what unit you going to? Who you gonna serve with? What's your job gonna be?
I'm going to be a section sergeant in Charlie Battery, 3rd of the 4th. I want to be a staff sergeant, and I want to
Okay.
be a section sergeant. Whatever gun they have now or whatever system, that's
Okay.
what I want to do. Yeah, maybe it's an
Okay.
Avenger, maybe it's a M-SHORAD, or maybe they got one of them laser beam things. Either that, or I'm going to volunteer for a remote assignment in the asteroid belt with the Space Force.
Oh,
And I'm gonna
wow.
have my binos and a little radio, little remote 4, remote 4. This is remote 6-7. Radio check, over.
Hell yeah, I love it.
Be like, remote 4-4. This is remote 7. Salute report follows. Prepare a copy.
I love it. This is great stuff. This is the best.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So, but we do. We gotta keep these bonds together. We got to remember the closest friends that we have, we built during those times, right, dude? If you called me and said, "Hey, man, I don't know anybody else to call, but I'm here in wherever it was, man. I'm here in Bangladesh, and I need your help," I'd be like, "Bangladesh, let's go, baby. My buddy's in Bangladesh. We got to go help him."
This just happened. Funny that you said it. This happened about a month ago. I was my car was being worked on, so I bought a friend's car. That car went down. I was an hour away from home. I called up a buddy of mine. He's a Jumpmaster at 325, old Jumpmaster. I said, "Jumpmaster, you around?" He said, "I'm about 40 minutes away from you, Morgan." I said, "Well, I'm broke down here." He said, I probably can't make it to you." I said, "Well, you know what? I'm gonna camp out here in my car overnight, and I'll just wait till the morning." He's like, "Hey, Airborne, you can't be camping out in your car. You can't be doing that. You ain't young anymore." So I said, I'll just camp out here till the morning time." He actually left, picked me up, and took me home. See the brotherhood we have? Only airborne guys.
Hey, the because of those long, hard nights that we've spent on the drop zone, deployed different places on a shooting range. I mean, all these standing at the eggs to order line, right? When you're adding mushrooms to my omelet, and those kinds of times build bonds that many people don't have any understanding about, right?
Zero. Zero. I was I was I was at one point I was the triple nickel recruiter for triple nickel. I was a recruiter out of Colombia, and just people like they really gravitate to me. So there was a guy, and I can't even think of the guy's name. He's in my phone, but he was an old air defender. He said, "Tell Marshall Style, tell him I said hey." But I'd be running into some of the old ADA guys at the gym. Of course, I'll be wearing my stuff. You'll catch me in these shirts all the time, all my cool stuff. And we'll just come up to each other, and most of them, 95%, we dap each other up, show each other some love. And it's just it's a special kind of bond that we have that if you're not airborne, you ain't gonna understand it, or you ain't gonna have it. You ain't gonna have
That's
it.
right.
It's like, why you they see out of the whole guy, like I said, I'm at Fort Jackson. I'm at a restaurant. Make eye contact. Out of all the guys here, we talk to the airborne guys, and we just go and we embrace and we hug. We dap it up, show some love, and we keep it moving. It's just a special bond. We have our special fraternity. This is a special fraternity. This group is
Oh yeah.
the
Oh yeah.
airborne family.
So I have a tradition as we begin to close it out. One of the things I want you to do is to think about calling your unit to attention. So think about, sitting up straight in your chair and saying, squad attention.
Okay.
That good PLDC voice that that you learned about, and then I want you to get a hand salute, and no, you probably just stay seated. Just sit up tall, and then also salute and say, Sergeant Morgan signing out, something like that. Okay. Whenever you're ready.
All right. Squad, attention. Sergeant Morgan signing out.
Oh, yay! Wasn't that fun, man? Isn't that cool? Those kinds of things that we did back in the service really define our lives and really give us structure and really you just get warm and fuzzy when all of a sudden you call your unit to attention. It brings you back to those days of camaraderie, right?
It's still in there. That fire is still burning light, strong. That fire is not as burning strong as it used to. That fire's still burning, bro.
Amen. Amen.
Love you. Thanks for this.
Yeah, Sergeant Morgan, dude, it's been a blast. I love you, man. You're a star, airborne all the way by daring deeds. And hang on after this is over. Hang on with me, okay? Don't go anywhere. All right.
That was Jumpmaster. Thanks. I appreciate what you're doing. You're a superstar. I'm just a mini star.
Oh my God, I love it. Love you, buddy.
Love you, bro.
Marshall in the middle.